Tuesday night. It's not a week. It's not a show after a win, but we're on nonetheless, and there's lots to talk about. Win, lose, or draw. Johnny, my friend, good evening to you. How are you this evening?
Yeah, good evening, Trev. Good evening, viewers. Doing fantastic. It's unfortunately I brought the Melbourne weather up with me. It's got down to about 12 today. It was not
Oh,
good.
you poor bugger. 12. Oh, how do you cope?
Oh, it's just not on. I didn't sign up for this, so next stop Cairns, I reckon.
The higher you go, mate, the better you'll be. 12 is I'll take 12 any day of the week. As you can see, I'm sitting in a nice little comfy scarf and jacket here, so I'll swap you any day of the week.
Yeah. We only have one of them, like every 10 years.
Good evening to our awesome viewers. Thank you very much for joining us. Especially, it's pretty ordinary to come on board after a loss. I know that I go into hibernation for a couple of days. I don't listen to SEN. I don't watch the footy shows. I try to keep myself going through my wicked ass sense of humour that sometimes backfires on me, but it sometimes saves me. So that keeps me going until about Tuesday night, and all of a sudden I'm up and about again.
That sense of humour of yours has got us a lot of unlikes.
Oh, mate, I forgot to send you something. Remember our friend? Remember our friend last week, Brad? Was it?
Oh, I can't remember who it was, but yeah, that was a great call.
I checked our inbox during the week, and there was a nice little message from Brad. I forgot. Did I send that to you?
No, you didn't. What was that all about?
I'll put that up on the page, or maybe after the show.
Brilliant.
Anyway, who have we got on tonight? Mohammed Hooli, good evening to you, my friend. Thank you very much for joining us. Greg, over in the West, who'll be our West Australia correspondent this week. We look forward to hearing from Greg and what he's got to bring, and hopefully some special guests. Andrew Google, Carlton Lake, pleasure for you to join us, my friend, and it was also a pleasure to sit with you. It was a pleasure to sit with you, not to watch the game, but that's another story. And listen to your insight and get your wonderful knowledge of all things that was going on, because I got no idea when I watched the footy. And I'll talk about this a bit later. We sat behind the goals, which is I often don't sit in behind the goals, but it was a good perspective, and I took a few things out of it on the weekend. Who else have we got? We have got Lita Lamberto. Hello from Darwin. She's nice and warm up there, Lita. Thank you very much for joining us. Lucky you. Who else? Jade Callahan. G'day, Jade. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Kate Jezelenko. Really appreciate you joining us tonight. Love your stuff. She says, been going to the footy lately. Know what's going on. Well, that would be a change, Kate.
Oh, how do you know?
No, that's not. That's not fair. Kate, he knows exactly what's going on with her footy club more than most, and it's good you're out and about, Kate, going to the footy and seeing the games as well. Bretsky, what the hell happened? Yes, we'll get into that shortly. What did the hell happen? I would have said what the F happened, but that's we'll have to wait till 8 o'clock before we do that. Angelo Gravina, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to everyone that is joining us. Tanya, good evening to you, my friend. Start us off, Johnny. The light blue Guernsey. We haven't seen that for a while. Is that to reflect the inner soft chocolate of our centre, like the M&M is?
Yeah. Nice one. First of all, I'm very, very concerned, Trev. You've put on the PG rating, and I don't think that that's completely on par with the way tonight's going to go, given there's going to be a rant aplenty at the rubbish that we saw on Friday night. But I've got a new cause for this, a new use for the light blue. Every time that we have an embarrassing performance, I'm going to put this on, and you'll notice as soon as you see this on, JR's not happy.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to see. Kate's gone a bit tame. Maybe she's waiting for the kids to go to bed. Absolute disgrace, shut down, hopeless. That's probably summed it up. Good night, everyone. We don't need to talk about anything else.
It's been a pleasure.
You're exactly right. Who else have we got? Sorry, I've missed someone here. No, I missed him. Any chance Weeders back this week, says Mohammed. Yes, he is back this week. The injury report is out. Weeders is back. Owies is available. Ed Curnow is available for his first game. That'll be an interesting discussion for later on in the year to see where Ed gets back. And I think one other was available too. Martin was available too. So
no, there was two more. Sam Durden was one, that's incredible comeback, to be honest. For him to come back so quick. There was one other, but I don't think it was Martin, was it?
It was Martin, yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's more like it, Kate. We don't like it when you hold back. Okay, absolutely fucking disgraceful. Look, it was absolutely fucking disgraceful. And I referenced
hang on. Remove the PG rating. Put up the MA 15 plus rating.
Kiddies off to bed. I referenced your little light blue M&M Guernsey there because it was we were soft when it counted. We've got a soft inner core, and we were soft. Oh, soft is not. I shouldn't use the word soft, but that's fair. When we come up, I hate the word soft in terms of footy players. When we come up against some really pressure opposition, like we did with Gold Coast, like we did with Collingwood, and again like we did with Richmond pressured us over the ball, and St Kilda did exactly the same thing. The Essendon game, they are soft, so we got away with one there. Fremantle, they didn't give us a lot of pressure. We were allowed to play their game, and they would try to play their running game. They didn't really do a lot of pressure. So we're susceptible to that. We are susceptible to that high intensity, high pressure footy when it comes down to it. And it shows a few of our fringe players that when the heat gets going, they're out of the kitchen, and that's going to be the difference. If we're going to try and hold on to our spot in the 8, it's we've got to work on how we deal with that pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. You won't go too far in finals if you can't deal with that pressure, because that's what finals is all about, isn't it? It's a different game of football, really. Yeah. Look, I made the comment at halftime. I went to the Villanusa. Cheers to anyone from Villanusa who's watching tonight. And went there with a couple of mates, and I said at halftime, if we don't sort this out, we're not going to win this game. And what I was referring to is that we were sort of standing outside of the action of the pack. There was only like one maybe going in and contesting the ball, and they were just winning it out and getting it out to their heart's content. We were sort of sitting back a bit, and that didn't wash well with me. And that's not the way that we've been winning games. And I don't think that we did fix it for the rest of the game. It was one of those games. I'd take the scoreboard completely out of it. I reckon the goals and points is completely irrelevant. We never looked like in that game that we had that midfield ascendancy. We never looked like we were comfortable within that game. They always looked like they had another string to their bow. I don't know if anyone else got that perception. Maybe I was just having a bad day, and that was my thoughts. But I was never comfortable within that game.
I thought Rats outcoached us too. I thought, the way he structured up and the way that they used the ball by foot was in direct contrast to our run handball game. It opened up when we made mistakes by overusing the ball in a lot of instances. They were more direct when it came to it, and they were able to expose, which is our weakness at the moment, our forward, our back line. They moved, they tried to drag Lewis Young out of the play as much as they can, and that left open the other big bloke who always destroys us, whose name doesn't come to mind right this second.
Membry, you mean?
Membry. Yeah. And the other young bloke down there, so they knew that Lewis Young was our really own saving grace, and by foot they were all over us. And again, back in the contest, they destroyed us. Hill ran right. We tried to put Cottrell on him. Cottrell did a little bit of work on him, but eventually, caught up. He was too smart of a footballer. Hill, he was leading to the ball, and Cottrell wasn't able to get there in time and lost track of him many, many times, but it was a move that was a bit too late. So I think all across the ground we were out coached. we were out muscled, and they used the ball far better, and we were showing up. And I hope that's a big learn for the coach and for the club.
Yeah, it was interesting. The press. Great summary there, by the way, Trev. It was interesting. The presser from Voss, although I didn't hear it all, there was one theme that came out of it is that we didn't respect their pressure enough, and to me, that's inexcusable. It really is inexcusable. We've gone in there thinking these guys are easy beats. Is basically what he's saying, and we should just roll over the top of them because of our talent. To me, that's that's if that is really the case, then that is a disgusting situation to be in. And yes, we really need to learn from that and learn quick.
I thought we would have learned from it after Collingwood, but clearly we haven't. Clearly, there's something going on. And I think we can't, I suppose, be critical of players like Hewitt, Kennedy, Sard, Walsh, Cripps. I think in that bracket, but there's a few down the ranks that may have we might have. Their intensity could have been quite different.
Yeah, look, it was the same feel as the Gold Coast game, like you mentioned at the top of the show, the same feel as the Richmond game, in that they wanted it more at the contest, and that's the game right there. Like I said earlier, we got our chances to score, we butchered that, but really, it was because they just wanted the win more.
They wanted the win, and they were obviously back against the walls too, and that shouldn't be an excuse for us to lose the game. It's just very frustrating, of course, knowing that what position we're in. We've got to reevaluate all sorts of things now. We've got a big run ahead of us, and we're opened up. And any team's opened up to a team that's going to provide that kind of pressure. And yeah, we've got to bunker down.
Yeah, and that's what really surprised me is we didn't throw the kitchen sink at them in the first 10 minutes and first 15 minutes like we did against it doesn't matter. Essendon, I'm going to say, because they had their 150 and, there was all this emotion hanging around and all that sort of them. The first 10, 15 minutes, we just crucified them, and that was the end of the game. We should have done the same against St Kilda, given that they had 3 bad losses on the trot. Confidence would have been shot. We really needed to just 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in that first quarter, just remind them how shit that they were in those 3 weeks, and their confidence would have been shot. But we didn't. We just let them run their own game and play their own way.
Before we get into
it's a psychological game, and we don't tap into this enough. We worry too much about rotations and fucking bullshit. We don't think about these things enough.
Yep. Before we get into the audience, just want to pick up on a point Luigi has said. We didn't put scoreboard pressure, took 15 marks inside 50, didn't kick one goal from that. Certainly, that was an issue. A lot of people saying we lost the game because we didn't kick straight. The whole fact is the fact is that we kick a goal, a whole different circumstances of an events change. Same as we do if we kick a point. That 1 point doesn't mean we're going to kick a goal or a point the next time. It's just they're all associated with that individual moment of the point of the game. It doesn't mean that we're going to kick a point or goal in between that. Certainly, scoreboard pressure matters. So, but if you do kick a goal, then it does put the pressure psychologically and tactically on the opposition. So, but it certainly doesn't mean you're going to kick the next goal. It gives you that advantage, though. So, the fact we kick all those points didn't impact the game. We lost it because of the things we've already talked about.
Yeah.
What else have we got to hear from our awesome audience? Bretsky says, I think we need to play Bam Ford on the wing as a ball winner. Just an idea. Dow as a forward, he has been speed good around the goal and crumb. Bam's been filling a lot of holes. So I think he's spent a bit of time running on the wing. He's certainly bops up forward and back. So maybe not too deep, I don't think. But I think, he does play a bit of a swingman role, a bit of a utility role.
I think he's extremely good at it, and I'm definitely not pointing the finger at him for the loss. I thought he left it all out in the park, but one of the few I would have thought.
Yep. Who else have we got? Fogarty was another player that was available there, all mentioning that as well. Peter Vlahos, very good point. He makes Stocker should have been chosen over Chera as well. I was, again, sitting next to the Oracle and the Google Andrew Lake, and we both thought the same thing, that Chera wasn't 100%. He played a serviceable game, but I just don't think he was 100%. He was wrapped up like an Egyptian mummy for a start, but that doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't 100%. But, I think he was brought into the game underdone, and it wouldn't be the first time Carlton have played underdone players.
Yeah, which makes me think now with that particular player, is he one that needs to get his touch in the twos before he comes back? And some players do need that. And we've been saying that for bloody ever. Players should do that anyway. It doesn't happen in reality. But is he one that just does need to get that football in his hands for 1 week before he does come back? That's rhetorical.
Okay. Let's still answer it anyway. Not for me. I just think he was underdone. I think, Dow probably could have been one come in, or Stocker probably could have come in, and we could have done with an extra solid, harder, big body against the Saints, I think. But yes, not to be. Hello, says.
So hang on. Before we go on, do I get a prize though for getting the ins and outs right last week?
Oh, sure, mate. What's your email address? I'll send you up a gift voucher. Get a new jumper. I've got a stubby holder here somewhere for you. From I'll try and find it. I've got it dragged out. I'll drag it out for you. Richie Benikaza, hello to you. Kayla Anderson, really appreciate you joining us on the show. Thank you very much. Hank Lunenberg says Sard is a gun. He's my new. When we play backyard footy with the kids, I'm Adam Sard of late, and I mentioned it last week. Well, you mentioned it last week about how good he is with getting his ball to the foot, and he was awesome at it again on the weekend. He's a genuine gun, and the Wolf was back.
Yes, look, it's I think that's all bullshit. The Wolf and all that, but that's
actually wasn't a huge fan of it. We get out in the ground and it gets a bit of momentum and it sounds really cool. That goes around the stadium. It's actually pretty cool, especially when you're there.
Yeah, fair enough. But it was good to see the jumpers though. With the orange bands, the Carlton respects. And it's good for us to acknowledge that Carlton does respect GWS and the amount of players that we've got for them. So congratulations on that, Blues.
Yep. Brendan Scott, good evening to you. Very good point. Ryder Marshall combo heard us early. Ryder is an extremely experienced player, a very good player. Marshall is the same. That was a good combination for them, and we didn't have any answers to them. TDK was a little bit down. Marshall, we didn't have any answers for up in the back with his height, even though we had. We didn't really have any answers. Lewis Young was our only, real solid tall down there, and he was taking memory, so it was pretty hard to deal with that combo. And they're a much better. I think they're a better side than Freo. That's what I think of St Kilda.
Yeah, the previous 3 weeks you wouldn't have said that though. They were garbage.
Typically, they play their good games against Carlton.
And how are the ins though? We talked about that last week. Four of their best come into the side.
Yeah, and again, memory plays out of his skin every time he plays with us. Zach Jones always kills us. We should have been in there to remind them of that fact in the team meeting during the week.
Yeah.
Andrew Lake, we haven't won a Carlton respects game ever.
We don't really respect our supporters, do we?
or we don't respect the opposition we're playing on Carlton Respects Day.
Yeah, and for Voss to infer that's pretty damning, isn't it?
Yep. Again from Andrew, big tick to the performance of Kemp and Motlop. Really loved Kemp in the last few weeks. He's really composed. Very, very solid, very composed, clearly undersized, but getting fist to the ball. Marking solidly, so Kemp's really got a big upside, and another pre-season in the gym, and he's going to be he's doing an apprenticeship down the back if he can get some games into him, and it's going to be interesting to see where he evolves and what kind of a player he evolves in.
Yeah, big tick to their performances and 2 of my outs.
That's like, oh, what? You're out. Oh, sorry, you didn't win a prize.
No, for next week, 2 of my outs.
Oh, that'll be right. Luigi said we gifted them 3 goals, kicking across goal, across centre. There were some silly things. We would, and again, sitting behind the goals, I was able to see a lot of that silly stuff. Just basic fundamental football. Harry Mackay takes the mark on the wrong side of the ground for his left snap, where he has to go the check side, and he's walking, he's putting his back to the play. Just silly stuff like that. It shouldn't happen in AFL footy. There was that big delay when the player went off and he missed that goal. Silly basic stuff, and it was really arrogant, I think, of that. I hate seeing players walk back and don't and take their back, put their back against the play when they go kicking for goal. It's really arrogant.
Yeah. Look, unless that's part of his routine, then I don't mind it so much. Particularly when the stakes are high, he may need that moment to calm himself. So I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know what it is, but yeah, but we must win this week. And geez, if we took West Coast lightly after what we dished up on Friday, heads will roll.
Heads might roll after this weekend. We'll wait and see. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny, give us your best players, and we also want to hear from you guys out there. Who was your top 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to give us?
Yeah, so look, obviously there's normally the popular votes that go around, and I normally try and do something different. So this week I'm giving no one votes. I thought it was a pathetic display by Carlton, and it was arrogant, as you mentioned. If they've gone in, they're not respecting St Kilda's pressure, then no one deserves votes, so fuck them.
Jeez, we're pretty harsh, our supporters, aren't we?
No, fuck them.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know what to say to that. No vote, says Johnny.
No, fuck them.
All right, and also the best and fairest too. No votes in the B&F.
Yeah, B&F just counted as another buy.
No vote, says Johnny. That's the call of the year, I think, so far. Fuck him, he says. Not good enough. I don't know if they got a spray on the weekend. I didn't hear anything about a spray, but if there was ever a week to get a spray, that was it. And I think Vossi should give himself a bit of a spray too, because I think he dropped the ball in a few cases. Well, we'll say it how we'll call it how we see it.
Richie, love it.
What's Richie giving to you?
Put on our banner this week. No votes. Fuck them.
Well, we do have a direct line to the cheer squad. We'll see what we can do. Okay, Motlop should get all the votes, he says. Motlop was really, really good. One again, back to where I sat. I was highly critical of our structure a lot of the time. I didn't see any of them getting behind the all in front of the ball, and none behind. There was plenty of instances where the ball just went sailing over the top, and there was none behind. So I think our smalls have got a bit of work to do. Even though Motlop was very solid, he kicked 3 goals, and in a good performance for him, keeps his hat in the ring. Particularly with Owies coming back, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But he's a competitor, so is Owies. But he's getting some goals on the board.
Yeah, and good on him.
No good point, Johnny. You're copying it too. You're copying it. Sard, how can you criticise his effort?
I'm just tonight on the votes Nazi.
So, all right. No, you're right, Sard. Sard's probably up there in my best players. I liked the game of Hewitt. He was very, very solid. Who else do I like? I forget who I like.
Sard. In all seriousness, Sard was one of the few who just went 4 quarters, just kept going and going. Pressure one way, and then turn around, kick the ball to advantage the other way. So he was near votes.
near votes. And Kennedy and Cripper, I think, also were pretty good as well. Kennedy's very strong. His marking is A1 now. Cripper was solid. I still think I thought he was down a little bit early, Cripper, but he brought himself back into the game. But no, Kennedy for me was also right up there. A lot of mistakes as well, just a lot of silly stuff, just basic footy. And again, maybe it was taking them easy, but just silly little kicks. They weren't going to advantage. The player expected to have space when they didn't. Cost us plenty of turnovers and plenty of goals. There was a few. Unfortunately, poor O'Brien and Mr. Plough were a victim of that a few times. Just forgetting that they're not playing in the twos and they've got that extra few seconds to do stuff. They've just got to be mind on it, body on it every minute of the game.
Yeah, fair call. Unfortunately, the whipping boys are back, aren't they?
The whipping boys are back. And,
whipping boys are back in town.
The whipping boys. They are the whipping boys, but they are also the barometer on how we perform too. They get up and they have a good game and present well, and it's a different story.
Yeah. Look, I didn't mind Plowman's game actually. I thought he did quite well to be that third man up, and did a lot of things that you could even see on the camera, on the TV, that he was putting himself in the right position and so forth. And it's just those fuck ups he's remembered for.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's the way it is.
Yep. They don't remember the blokes kicking for goal at earning 600,000 a year that missed from 30 metres out dead in front, but they'll miss Mr. Plough missing a shot at a small kick or something around that, do they? It's equally, those things have got to be equally criticised. It's just goals are so hard to come by, and when you get them, you just got to make sure they go through. It's just the easiest part of the footy, but sometimes just somehow for some reason is the hardest.
Now, Luigi, that's a great point, and I said that a quarter time. That we had to shut down Sinclair because that amount of run that he was giving was giving them so many opportunities. And from what I saw, I didn't see really a hard tag on him, and that to shut him out of the game. Yeah. Another one of those players that you drop his confidence early on, and it's a different story of his particular output. So yeah, I was fully on board with that quarter time. Never saw it happen. He ended up with 37 possessions or something. That's pretty damning.
Have you seen Voss put a tag on at all?
No, a hard run, but no, that would have been a great one for Nunes, just to get in his ear and and really tell him all about it. I think we missed something there. We missed a trick there.
Yeah, no, maybe Vossi's not a big believer in the tag. Finals, he might have to change his mind when some of these big guns come out to play. You could probably argue that the games that we've lost probably haven't been the result of one player getting hold of us. It's more of been like we mentioned earlier, but I think he's got to have that in his back pocket, and Cottrell and Nunes is probably your two go-to players.
Yeah, look, it's also not a tag for the whole game either. Like I said before, I'm a big believer in the psychology of football, and guys like DeGuy, if you give them one sniff of confidence in that first 10 minutes, then they'll tear you apart. If you completely deride them of that confidence, then their return is going to be very, very poor for the rest of the game. So it might just be for that first 10 minutes to take them out of the game and to get them psychologically on the back foot. And they've got to work themselves back into the game after that.
Sandra McDonald, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. Voss has already said he doesn't tag. Well, there you go. So that's
fair enough.
The answer to that question. That's his probably, when a coach comes out, and I'm obviously believing what Sandra's got to say about that. I haven't heard it myself. He comes out and makes that kind of statement. It does potentially open him up to criticism if a player like that is going to take hold of you, and he has to do that because at some point, I think every team's got to put a tag on someone if they're just getting hold of you, and they're clearly the difference.
Yeah, look, but pre-arm yourself is what I'm saying. That there's particular players out there who, between the years, they need to have everything going their way, and then they will take you apart. So do it for that particular period of time. is probably what I'm saying. To say for Voss to say that he doesn't tag also might be a ploy too. For him to be able to use that as a tactic later, as a surprise tactic.
Oh, that's interesting. Deep thought processes.
Mm.
Angelo says, if Charlie McKay kicked 3 goals each, we win. If my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle too. So, yeah, good point, Angelo. But the fact is that they were well held and they were off, and their goal kicking was off. I don't know about that. A few people have said if we have Wiedering, we win. I don't agree with that statement necessarily as well. I just thought St Kilda had our measure. I thought we might escape there when we got a goal and got in front in early in that last quarter, I think it was. But they just had the right answers and they had the right attitude and they wanted it more than us.
They took us apart after that goal. We were unsighted.
We were unsighted, yes, we were. Heath Buck pointed out, says Andrew Lake, we're asking a lot of kids, Motlop, Durden, Honey, less than 30 games between them. That's an interesting point too. But on the same token, I don't think they're the reasons we lost the game. I don't know if we're asking too much of them. Durden's been solid. Motlop has performed really, really well. I don't know if we're asking too much about them. Honey has probably been playing, or you could argue has played equally as well as Martin when he's been in there. It's good that those kids are in and getting games, but I don't think we're asking too much of them or a lot of them. I think what we're asking of is players like your Nunes and your O'Briens and your Setterfields and your who else can I pot shot this week, which is usually not like me to have a pot.
Pot them all, fuck them.
Well, you've pot them. Cottrell, even Cottrell hasn't played a lot of games, but there was an expectation that these guys have got to come to it every week, and maybe our expectation as supporters has been way too high, given we've had some really good wins, but we've had some really lows as well. And I said it a few weeks ago. Our expectation this year is finals, and that's 8th. And let's just take each week as it comes and cross our fingers to see which one turns up.
Yeah. Yep. Audience questions. I've got to sneak off.
Very good. Make it quick because I've got not much power on my computer. I've got to get my charger, which I don't know where it is. Angelo Gravini, yes, we did kick 1-8. Kicking points at a certain given period of time is not necessarily going to make it that we're going to kick a goal or a point the next time. Each thing will be independent of each other. The only thing that happens when you kick a goal is that pressure comes on and scoreboard pressure, and if we're in front, that helps, and if we're behind, it might give them a bit of momentum, but I don't think it's the cause of losing the game. Hank says junk time goals at the end of the game. Fair enough, that probably did. Well, yeah, that's true. There was not the end of the third, not the end of the game. That also didn't help us either, and that's been our nemesis in the last few years, is these red time goals against us, and yeah, we let a few slip. And that probably set us back a bit too. Brendan Scott, g'day buddy, says, think this is half a good sign. We're outplayed and yet still could have won with some straight kicking. Like to see your optimism, mate. Again, back to the kicking. I don't think that was the difference. I think we were just outplayed. I think we still are a better team than St Kilda, so that's probably a good sign. I hope the good sign is we learn. We just learn to not take sides like that for granted, and we particularly bring that this week, which is a big danger game. And every side that comes up against Carlton would probably think they're a chance, regardless of us beating teams like Freo. You're on mute, buddy. What's going on there? We're not on Zoom. You don't have to be on mute. Can't hear you, Johnny.
Sorry,
That's
mate.
That's better.
Do you need to get your Tony Bahaja?
I might go and do that. You take over with some questions. I'll be back one sec.
Yeah, look, I'm interested to hear everyone's thoughts. We got 5 players, as we said at the top of the show, who are available for selection for this week. Obviously, Trevor and I will give our teams very shortly, although I won't because I can't be bothered. But I'm just wondering, out of those 5, who would you bring back and who would you take out as a result? Also, I'd like to know your thoughts on what you would have done at halftime, what message that you would have sent out, given that we didn't have our heads screwed on, and given that St Kilda's pressure was up. What message would you have sent out?
Okay.
So Sandra McDonald says Wiedering is no brainer. Yeah, obviously, someone made a comment before. Apologies, I didn't grab your name because the comments go very, very quickly. That don't expect too much out of a Wiedering this week. If anyone's seen Monty Python and the sketch where the knight gets his arms and legs cut off, it's "I'll bite your balls." I think that's Wiedering. He's still going to make a contest even if his arms and legs are gone. So don't worry about him. Yeah, Martin's an interesting one. Yeah, Martin or Fogarty, would they really add anything that we missed on the weekend? I would say no.
I would say you say Wiedering.
No, Martin Fogarty.
Oh, Martin,
Sandra
sorry.
McDonald makes the point. I would not bring back Martin or Fogarty. And yeah, would they add anything that were you to bring them in? Would they add anything that we were lacking?
No, I don't think so. I said it before. Honey, I think his output was equal to what Martin's been doing. I think Honey will benefit from a bit of consistency and a bit of game time. They'll probably bring Martin back, like they did when they played him first round without having to hardly play any footy and any form. They put him in the side and they seem to bringing him straight back. But I think he's got to come through the twos. He's just got to.
Yeah, I think so. Now, I made the statement. Sorry, the hypothetical, not the statement last week, is would you bring Ed Curnow in for that sort of half forward flank position? And is this the week that you do it and you get him to grow into that position between now and the finals? Discuss.
The simple fact that he's been so far out of footy says it's a definite no for me. It just simply won't happen. They'll put him in the twos and get him some game time. It's not like he's been out for a couple of weeks and he's been playing senior footy. He's been out for a very extended period of time. I like your line of thinking though, longer term, and particularly if he shows a bit in the twos, he comes in like any player. But I don't think that will happen.
Yeah, okay. I'll take a different stance on that, given that we need to. If we are looking to finals, like I said last week, we need the hard bodies and we need the experience out there. And he's going to be playing in a position that's probably not that familiar to him, playing on a half forward role. So, and this, let's call a spade a spade. This is probably his last season. So let's if we're going to utilise him in that role, let's start now.
Fair enough. I like your line of thinking, and Anthony Walsh is on agreement with you. And it's probably half forward. Half forward is a spot, and wings obviously another spot that's up for grabs. Is that role, and half forward is probably a spot that we haven't been. We need a bit of strength in. Silvani's been killing it there as well, so that's not a problem. The other half forward's up for grabs. Maybe they just put him in half forward in the twos and say this is we want to try you for this spot for the remainder of the year. The twos have been playing pretty well and are up there and don't necessarily need another midfielder. So maybe stick him in the twos as half forward and see what he can bring.
Yeah, fair enough. But look, I think he does. Brendan Scott says he relies on his fitness, so we'll need some games under his belt. Yeah, that's fair enough too. But he provides that next option too to come to rotate through the midfield, which like I've been saying, we've been saying, Trev, for a number of years. That's what a half forward should be, or a flanker should be. Should be able to rotate through that midfield and put up a very, very solid effort, like our good mate Fisher has been doing. He's had a wonderful few games.
Congratulations to Zach Fisher.
He was almost in votes.
Almost in votes. Who has had his contract extended to 2025, which is a good result for young Zach Fisher. Bit of talk about him being traded up or put up and wanting to go back home to WA. But this year, it's been his best year for Carlton. He's played his best footy. He's put on a bit of bulk. He's put on a bit of mongrel. He's got a bit of mongrel about him, so that's a good result in terms of the contract stakes.
Yep. Good on you, Fish. Well done.
And I don't know if anyone caught the interview, but Jack Silvani was on the couch last night, I think, and sort of talked about contracts and where everyone was situated and his love for the footy club. And I think he touched on the fact that I think that he thinks that the group will stay together and that they believe that they're onto something and that they'll pull out whatever they need to do to stay together. So he doesn't seem to think that's going to be an issue moving forward.
Oh, I'm 100%, 130% with him. It's that chemistry that you build from playing 7 years of football together, and it's. Imagine being part of that. Imagine that camaraderie that you've got. Coming from absolutely nothing in 2015. You haven't played a game of football together. The team's going completely shit. That the team's going shit, and we're building towards something, and you're doing it all together. There's got to be a part of you that says this is far more important than an extra $100,000 or $200,000 or whatever. Because if you're a premiership player, that can't be taken away from you.
Yeah.
And that opens up so many opportunities after your football life.
Yeah.
And to have done it together as a group, I think that's something that you hold to the grave, isn't it?
And it's not. It's different if they're going back home for family reasons or they're not getting any opportunities to play. That's a totally different thing. But this particular situation, you're talking about Charlie and Harry and a few other kind of players that contracts are up. That you're right. That $100,000 a season is going to be inconsequential, and there's good people at Carlton to make sure that they'll do outside footy that'll get that money back in spades. But there's many Carlton premiership players that they could get in the ear of and ask them what it means to win a premiership and go through some hard times and then come out of the other end with some success.
Yeah. But it's important too that we start going to the draft now. Like I've mentioned before, that when these guys that they might do until they're 30 or something, then go and chase the dollars or whatever. I doubt it. They'll do some long-term contracts, but either way, we've got to start looking at what are your next key positions now? How do we take over from these guys? What's our succession plan for these guys? It's a very, very important thing to be looking at now.
Hank Lunenberg says, boys, when McGovern comes back, does he play centre half back?
Yeah, I'm sure the twos would love him.
He's not in front of Lewis Young right now, is he?
Nope.
He's showed a bit in the first couple of games in the season, and we obviously were primed to have him down back. He certainly doesn't come straight into the ones if Lewis Young's there. So he doesn't play centre half back for me. He's behind Lewis Young, and hopefully he does come back, and hopefully he does make a contribution, because I think he's a valuable contributor, and we saw what he could do in those first few rounds playing that back role. It's going to be fantastic to have Lewis Young, Wiedering, McGovern, and Marchbank to be able to be into that back line.
Yeah, probably too many tools for me. I said
they're not going to play; they're going to rotate.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, sorry, mate. Look, I said last week, and I still stand by this, is McGovern's not the future of the footy club, simply because we've got to use that paycheck that he's got to put those dollars to the players that you were talking about the previous conversation. He's not part of the footy club, so I don't think I would. Well, I would personally not be playing him if I knew he wasn't going to be part of the footy club. Lewis Young, agreed. He's far ahead at the moment. Who's your third up? Then that's really a conversation. Who's your third up?
Very good. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. It is a week after a loss, a terrible loss, and Kate Jezelenko said it earlier, fucking shitty-ass loss or something. What has she ever said? And Johnny's not giving votes this week, so we're a bit dirty this week to be fair.
Yeah, look, it's an unnerving pattern now, isn't it, Trevor? That you look at our win-loss record over the past 6 weeks. It's win-loss, 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 win-loss. That to me spells a bit of danger. In that we're getting too far ahead of ourselves, or we're putting too much effort into one game, or whatever it might be. That has to be addressed very, very quickly, because you can't do win-loss in the finals, mate.
Or is it just we are just not a top 4 side? We are 7 and 8th side. We're a side that should be sitting around 7 and 8th, even with our best team.
It's a good question, because this season's so very open that we could be either. But we need to arrest that win-loss record that we've got over the past 6 weeks. So that alternating between our very best and our very worst.
Yeah. And that's the frustrating part, isn't it? We've seen our very best, and we as Carlton supporters think that our very best is capable of that top 4 spot this year. But what we think and what happens actually.
I think we are. I think Brisbane are probably going to lock a spot in. I haven't. We didn't think much of Freo. Melbourne, by the virtue of the amount of games that they've won, will probably scrape over the line for a top 4. Who else is there really that you could say are a lock?
No, they're the Geelong. Obviously, did you say Geelong?
No, I don't think that they're a lock for top 4.
Okay. I think they're probably one of the leading candidates for a top 4 spot. That's to see what happens. We play them in a few weeks, and that'll be an interesting game too. Brendan Scott McGovern, different type to Young. Young replaced James McDonald. McGovern was more playing third tall, playing off his man, taking marks. That's a really good point. More of an intercept player. Lewis Young has, you're right, been that man-on-man defender coming from behind with a fist. So that's a good point you make too, Scotty. Like I said, hopefully McGovern will come back in and fill the spot in the forward line. But whether it's enough back is probably not going to happen.
So interesting point there with McDonald. I may have raised this earlier, but I've got to thinking now. It's been rattling in the back of my brain. Sorry if I brought it up before. Do you offer Oscar another contract?
Yeah, I think he's too important a player not to have on your list. We've seen what happens when we get decimated with injury. So I think he can play forward, he can play back. So I think he deserves a spot on our list. Well, that's another contract anyway, another 1 year.
Yeah, put that in the context of you draft a gun key position,
and Kemp coming through is another thing too.
Yep.
I still think he's got a bit to offer for us.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. What's the audience's thoughts on McDonald and his future?
Yeah, good call, Johnny. Love to hear what everyone thinks about that. We'll do a list. We'll do a show and concentrate on our list later on in the year, I think. Another one to mention this year is not on the list anymore. Is it's official now that Tommy Williamson and the club have parted ways. Seems to be an amicable situation. Tom's come out on social media and praised his time at the club and the supporters and the connections he had, and seems to be content with what's gone on. Obviously, just a really difficult and sad situation. The young bloke who's went through a fair bit with his back, came back, played a bit of footy, has decided to step away. We don't know the circumstances, but we wish him the best of what he decides to do in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree with that. And I was pretty sad, pretty upset to read that, and I hope he's okay and his family are okay. But I want to get down to the nitty gritty of the laws here now, in terms of player movement. What's his restrictions now? Is he allowed to freely go to another club? Is he does he have to nominate for a draft? And if so, which draft? What happens from now if he were to come back into the game?
Yeah, that's a good question. The last thing he says is if he wants to come back into the game, he's going to without knowing the situation of what's going through, the potentially other clubs looking at that and saying, okay, well, what is that situation and why has it been that way? Would we invest in another younger bloke? He hasn't been able to get to a point where he's been able to have a consistent time in the AFL at Carlton. Personally, I think he's got a lot of value to a team, Gold Coast, GWS, that kind of club. I think he'd be a valuable contributor to another club. I don't know what the situation is. I think as an uncontracted player, he could probably be picked up in any draft. I would think. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree with that. North Melbourne would have him in a flash, I'm sure. But what are the steps now for him to become, by the laws, for him to become a player again?
Good question. Someone smarter than us will know that answer. And speak of the devil, Andrew Lacey could be picked up as a delisted free agent.
But is he delisted or is he retired? Because retired is a different question, isn't it? Retired means you've got to spend 12 months out of the game, do you not?
Good question. Don't know. Andrew, back to you, my friend. While you two guys go at it, let's move along to the West Coast game. We haven't beaten West Coast over there I don't think we've even won at Optus Stadium. So another challenge. West Coast, of course, have got a heap of players back, starting to play better. Just perfect timing for us. We're coming off a loss. We need this win. Sunday afternoon, all the eyes are going to be on us. Probably a bit of rain about too, possibly. It's shaping up as again, shouldn't say, just got to get it done. Just got to pull out another 50% as we did from this game and just get it done.
Yeah, and like we said last week, that's every game from now on. If you want to play finals or if you want to figure in finals, that's every game. And to take them as lightly as we did St Kilda would be a massive error.
Oh, look, you're right. Let's look at our run home. We've got West Coast. We've got GWS, I think. What else have we got? Is it
Geelong? I think Geelong's after West Coast, aren't they?
Is it? Yes, West Coast. Sorry, Geelong. Then it's GWS. Then at home, which is good. Thank goodness for that because they're playing all right footy. Then it's Adelaide Crows over there.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible while we're playing, or if we're not playing to our best, getting some players back also. Lions up there. Jeepers Creepers. Melbourne. And then we finish off with the Magpies at home. So, look, this there's no arguments about this game. It's got to be in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Brisbane up here and Melbourne on the MCG, you've got to say, you've got to pencil in 2 losses there. And the rest of them you've got to win.
I hope we don't get stage fright and think, jeepers, where they're looking too far ahead and looking at the ladder and looking at what could happen, look at these other games and thinking, can we even make it or drop out? And look at these games and get in play some scared footy. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, look, it's interesting because I said before, last week's show before the St Kilda game, is I thought that the coaches would be a little bit smarter to actually take out, St Kilda's confidence and did their homework and were able to get the team up and about early, which clearly didn't happen. So I really don't know the answer to your question, Trev.
And in terms of some other players, obviously, Wiedering's back. I don't know of some other players that we're waiting on. They're still a little bit further away as well. I'll just look to bring up the injury report. Pitnet's 1 to 2 weeks away. He'll be really important. Again, Sam Durden's available, but probably wouldn't think is needed if Wiedering's in. Jordan Boyd's still a few weeks away. So really Pitnet is probably the closest to come back and one that will be welcome back, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't rule Durden out either, to be honest, because you're going to have Wiedering and Lewis Young against their two big blokes. If they're playing, I haven't seen their team, but if they're playing, would you have Durden as a third up?
Not for me. Not for me.
Okay. Would you keep Kemp, or would you have the whipping boy in there as your third up?
Kemp keeps his spot for me. He's been quite solid and hasn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Speaking of the teams, let us know what your ins and outs are, please, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be fantastic. Before we do that, we've got a special guest coming from us from a train in Italy.
Wow, we.
Train in Italy. That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
Good on you, Betty.
Can you go live, mate? We'll put you on the show. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
If you can go live.
On your phone.
I don't know how the internet is live on a train in Italy, but mate, I'll put the link in the chat. If you can see that and you can come on live, that would be absolutely awesome. But because that'll be fun. What are you doing over there, mate? You obviously seen the relatives, maybe. But yeah, if you see that link, mate, come on. We'll put you on, and we'll have a chat about footy live from Italia. Not sure off my phone. Give it a crack, mate. Never know. We'll have a try. Even if we get a couple of seconds out here, we'll have a crack. It's probably going to cost him about $600,000 on internet call charges.
Yeah. If he's got roaming, no, mate, don't do it.
Yeah. If you got the free Telstra roaming, then make sure we'll do it. If not, I'll just start a GoFundMe for you. Okay, my ins. Since no one else has given me any ins and outs, I will start that process. Wietering in for me.
And who comes out?
And who comes out would be Jeepers Creepers. I am going to take Jack and Nunes out of the side. That's my change for the moment. And I think Setterfield should not be the sub, and I think the sub should go to a Dow or probably Dow or Stocker. That's my change.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I think Cottrell gets another run at it. We'll need him a bit of run out there on Optus. I think Durden should hold his spot. I think Motlop will hold his spot. I think Owies will probably come back through the twos. So it's probably that change for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Brad Miller says, say hello to your ex-wife, by the way, Brad. Stocker, Wiedering, Owies, Martin, out O'Brien, Plowman, Durden, and Setterfield. Okie dokie. Ladies and gentlemen, we might be in for a little bit of a treat here. Hello to you, Benny Evangelista, live on a train in Italy. There's a first.
Ciao, boys. You got me?
Yeah, got that.
Grazie.
Mate, I had to get away from the Blue Boys. I'm getting told off I'm too loud.
Oh, that's okay, mate. What are you doing over in good old Italy?
Just travelling with my partner.
Oh, poor bastard. Going to see the Silvanis over there while you're over there.
To work out where I'm watching the West Coast game. Yeah.
Nice one. So,
bad connection.
What are you doing right this second? You said you're on a train. Where you heading to?
Amalfi Coast.
Oh, very nice. Very
Wow,
nice.
Did you get that?
And
Yeah.
catching up with the Silvanis while you're over there?
Yeah. I'll probably the connection's a bit bad there.
That's cool. That's cool.
Anyway, I'll let you go, boys. Connection's a bit
No,
buggered up.
that's cool, mate. Appreciate you
Crazy.
joining us. Even that was quick. Benny Evangelista live from somewhere in Italy, off to the Amalfi Coast, I think he said.
Yeah. Good on you, mate.
Poor bastard.
Wow, what a treat, eh?
Yeah, it was a bit of a treat. Well done, mate. Anyone else coming from any exotic location tonight that just want to join in the show? Live from Italy, the Carlton Live. We're all over the place, mate. How do you like that?
So apparently, we've got a new one. We've got Wayne in from St Albans. Yeah.
Come in, Wayne, and this is a real treat now from Wayne. Appreciate you joining us. Peter Vlahos says, Wiedestocker out Plowman Noon Setterfield. Good call, Peter. Brendan Scott brings an interesting conversation to the table. Hayes could be a good sub. It's funny, they put Hayes and Dow in a goal kicking competition half time. And both of them just slotted in with these. I thought, geez, put them in half to half time. Maybe he could be a good sub. I was surprised Setterfield got the nod on the weekend, but yeah, that could happen. I could see that happening.
Isn't that sad for Setterfield as a footballer, where he's gotten to?
Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. He was looking at one of our inside good mids there at one stage, and he's definitely down the pecking order.
Yeah. So what? If we traded him, we'd get probably third round pick, which is it's dreadful for what we gave up for him. But he needs to go to another club. He needs to find his niche.
Yeah, and I think someone else is talking about another Port Adelaide player looking at Carl Amon. So if we pick him up, then Setterfield's probably one of those ones that are looking for another opportunity.
Yeah, but Setterfield's never been a winger, and we haven't really played him on the ball in a great space of time. So we've probably hampered his development.
Yeah. Good point, Andrew. We brought it up on the night, didn't we? Well, you brought it up on the night. Setterfield's 50th club game, wearing his Carlton Respects T-shirt, sitting on the bench as the sub.
Yeah.
Brad Miller, who replaces O'Brien? He had a bad one on the weekend, but I think he's got a little bit of credit in the bank. So I don't think I think he holds his spot, unless, like Brendan Scott says, they decide to get really harsh and bring Hayes in for a crack.
Yeah. Yeah, look, he seems to have got a lot of support, Hayes. Whether that's going to give us any more than we've got, I don't know. But we obviously got him in for a reason, so maybe we do have to, put money where our mouth is.
Yeah, if we're going to try and give him a crack, maybe it might be the right time to sub him again. If we're going to put Setterfield as a sub, then why not why not just get some games into Setterfield and try to get some form into the twos and give Hayes a crack. Maybe that's the best way of trying these guys out.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okie dokie. Hayes on Gaff, says Andrew Lake. That's a good call. Gaff's cut us up in the past. Good, strong, a bit of a stronger body, Hayes, than O'Brien and Setterfield. That could happen too.
Fair enough.
All righty. Okay, so Sunday afternoon, West Coast Eagles. I'm not even going to do a call on margin or anything like that. I'm just going to put it out there that we're going to win. I think we will win. I think we need to use this game as a bit of a statement game for some of these players to try and increase their output another 50, 60%. And if they want to play for the rest of the year, this is the game now to show it.
Yeah, fair call. It's a must win. If we lose this, we really are in trouble of making the 8.
We're going to play, and then we're going to play scared footy too, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Okay. Dow could go with Gaff 2, says Brad Miller. Greg says 36 points will be enough.
One
Greg,
would be enough.
stay tuned for some of Greg's best work over in the West. I'm sure he'll bring us some special guests and some live commentary at some point during the game, and maybe during the week as well if we can get over to training. Greg fell off his bike during the week, so we hope you're okay, old boy. Just take it easy, won't you? You're getting on in years, so make sure you look after yourself. No margin for me, says Darren Familio, so he wants a draw. I'd take that. No, we don't want to draw. No, I agree, mate. Let's not worry about a margin. Let's worry about these 4 points moving forward. My arrogance level is decreased at the moment, and I'm being reminded of that from a certain Collingwood supporter who's giving it to me every 5 minutes that he can.
Brett Parker.
Yes, Brett Parker, my nemesis in life. And on to the last round where hopefully it's knocking them out of the 8.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. It's been a cool show. Really appreciate you joining us. Thanks for your contribution. As always, you guys are awesome and make the show happen. Johnny has got his, hopefully not wearing his Emma shirt next week, which will be a good sign.
Nah, back in the navy blue next week.
Benny Evangelista is going to join us from some other exotic location, maybe from the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Benny, fix up your internet. That'll be great. We'll have you live on the show. Anyone else on holidays want to join us next week? That'll be cool as well. Adrian Hines is down in Tassie. He usually joins us. Haven't seen Adrian tonight. He's probably out at work making his brew. We've got a couple of viewers from Japan and New Zealand, so that's pretty cool. But yes, let's get over the West Coast hump and move forward and get this one out of our memory banks. And look forward to seeing what the banner says, Johnny, if they take you up on your advice.
Brilliant.
What did you want to say? What did you want to say on the banner?
No votes, fuck them.
No votes, fuck them.
No, look, and cheers to all the WA supporters that we've got. Hopefully you have a great day. Enjoy every second of it. Send us pictures, videos, anything that you've got. We lap it all up.
Correct. Love you guys over there. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, John. Legendary as always. And good night to everyone. We will see you next week. Go Blues.